Today I'd like to show everyone how to make espresso brownies with pumpkin. It's a recipe that I've done many times in the past and always turns out really good. This time I decided to add a little pumpkin to it because it's the season for pumpkin, and who can ever just be plain brownies. They probably would still be very delicious. But I like adding the chocolate chips because I feel like it gives it a little extra burst of cocoa. Walnuts always add protein, and espresso gives you a little bit of a jolt. So this is what my brownie batter looks like right now. It is kind of full of ingredients. It looks very, chunky. So our next step would be to take our pan. I use a glass pan. You don't have to use a glass pan. My mom always had a rectangular aluminum pan, so you could use that as well. Alright, so I got my brownies in my pan. They look like this. They are all down in the corners, if you can kind of see around. And I bake my brownies at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for about 25 minutes. Once you pull them out, you should probably check with a toothpick or a wooden skewer. It's going to be per brownie. So, this is really good. I can't wait to eat the rest of this. And the house smells amazing, and if your neighbors don't come over and ask, for the recipe, then they're fools, because I'm sure all my neighbors can smell it. This is going to be really hard to stop eating, because in the real world, I have to go cook dinner now. Well, there we have it. We have chocolate, pumpkin, espresso brownies, and they are delicious. And I can't wait for all of you guys to be able to try the recipe and tell me how you liked it. how things worked for you. You know, if you do, tell me. Put it down in the comment section below. And if you like this kind of content, if you like what I did today and you want to see more recipes and have them, you know, to share with your family and friends as well, then subscribe to my channel. Bye!